some news update stuff. I'll get to it in a second. I'll give some people some time to get in here. Hope everybody's doing good. It's kind of crazy. They're hacking our phones. We're in a cyber war, and you never know what's next. Seems like China's in on the fight. They're using their group of the People's Liberation Army hackers, and they've done basically they infiltrated 10 cell carriers, all the major ones. They took GPS data, call, text records, all that stuff. Let's see, I got some people checking in here. I'm gonna get into something important in just a couple of seconds about where those 15 people, it's now at 15 that have died going the wrong way in a certain area of Ohio. It's kind of crazy that many people would go the wrong way. You would think that it would be a problem with the road maybe at this point. Maybe the signs or something weird, but it's all over the area. And of course, Google's messing with my numbers. We got them down to 0 in the room. Good job, Google. Y'all rocking on that. Give the NSA a minute to catch up. Let's see, I'm in Ohio. Well, Shannon, maybe you've seen this paper before that I spent $2 on. Because for real, that's what they wanted for this paper. Wait a second. There we go. Dayton Daily News. I-675. Wrong way death is the 15th in 4 years. That's the map of all of the wrong ways that have happened. Well, if this thing will do something, well, what did I do? I did something. I don't know if I got offline and wanted to go online, something. I just wanted to go here. Check this out. We will see if I can bring it to you. I wasn't prepared, but you brought up Ohio. I'm like, I got you, brother. Check it out. This is the map of 675 in Dayton. Okay, and they're numbered. The first one was here, second here, third here, fourth here. It's a death zone. 5 here. Let's see, where's number 6 hiding at? Oh, 6 is way up here on 70 in another spot of 70. The 7th one here, right in the middle of Dayton on 75, and the 8th one here. So here's the thing, even if you're smart enough not to go the wrong way, right, and you're a truck driver, but someone is coming head on at you, right, you're going to be the one that hits them and kills them, and maybe you'll die too, right? Dayton, Ohio, heads up. I'll get back to this in a sec here. I was kind of in the middle of getting crackers in my soup, people. I'm having lunch with you too. Have lunch with me. So, anyways, I'm just chilling out. I'm gonna go over some news, some stuff here. Lower part of Ohio. Okay, well, if you go up there ever to visit family, relatives, or to get down the road somewhere, be aware that they don't know which way to drive. That's, how can you put it any different? Maybe other states are a little bit easier for drunk drivers to navigate in, because to be honest with you, when the bars let out, all truck drivers know at about midnight, people start leaving bars, and also about 2 in the morning. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, you're welcome. I got a lot more coming, bro. You know, I know you ain't going nowhere, so I appreciate you, Shannon Blair, but you're fixing to hear some real stuff. And then you're going to hear something that's out of this world, because for real, we just got a message, I believe. You can call it what you want, but nothing ever has been measured over 100 teraelectrovolts, TeV for short. And we just got yesterday, I think it's an answer to Chernobyl. I think when Chernobyl blew, I know that they sent gamma rays and stuff so hyper fast and powerful that anything that we've sent off this planet, by the way, is slower than that. They got the message from that a lot quicker. Let's see, I live in Connecticut, and it happened sadly too far off. Wait. Happened sadly far too often. There was just a horrific truck accident in New Hampshire that wiped out 7 Jarheads MC members. Yeah, I saw that, and they said, hold on a second here, distracted and drunk driving is at an all-time high. You know who reported on that was Michael Savage. And as much as I like his voice, and I like him as a person, and he's a good guy, he's got a little dog, he's chilling, doing a radio program. Well, here's the problem. He goes a little off kilter, and he tries to do things for shock value at this point to get ratings and watch people to watch him. and he said that it was a truck driver, okay, that did, and this was a pickup truck. I've been meaning to hit him with that on Twitter. I'm gonna tell him that was not a truck driver. Dude was a drunk in a pickup truck. Know the difference. Don't be trying to just get views and whatever for, you know, putting something up, you know. So anyways, got a couple comments here. Let's see. Gamma ray distracted drivers. Yeah, possibly. Well, we're the ones that sent out the gamma rays. These new rays that came in were actually they weren't, I don't know if you would call them even in the, let's just call them a photon, because everything, you know, that travels on light. I'll give you a link to it. You decide. I'll put the link up to this guy. All of our weather comes from space, so I'll watch him because he's good at what he does. He reports on things that are happening. Okay, and so the Crab Nebula just sent us something that was okay. Here's the thing. If we're gonna go into that, we'll go ahead and go into that real quick. We brought it up, right? So this is the out of this world news part of this segment of this show here. So, all right, let's get this straight. Our Large Hadron Collider has enough power that they was scared it would create a black hole when they first decided to use it. Okay, it would be measured at 14 tera electrovolts of power when two particles collide. Just say 14 TeV for short. Okay, the highest that we have ever measured coming at our planet ever has been 100 TeV. That was the mark. We measured one at 500 TeV. If this would have hit you, it had the force of a ping pong ball. It could have killed you. Look, the way they measured them, the way these things hit, like I said, the gamma rays go through granite. First off, they have underground sensors and people that are underground with equipment trying to pick up gamma rays to study them, because everything else is filtered out through dirt and everything. Gamma rays go through the earth completely, through you and me every day. They just go right through you, and they can rip up stuff. Now I ain't gonna say every day. You're not gonna get hit by gamma rays every day, but as they do come through the earth, you know, it will go into the mountain and through the granite, through everything, and straight through the earth like it's nothing. The explosion at Chernobyl blew the concrete lid that was real thick, think of a road, off of the whole thing, and it was a blast so hard because it was like an instant nuclear reaction, because when they shoved the graphite back in to try to stop the reaction, there was water in the way. It took a little bit, but whenever it did hit, it created a different type of arc that it powered up so fast, like it just jumped up. They were trying to they brought the reactor down. They weren't supposed to use it that day before this so-called experiment. Then they were not supposed to bring it back up to power. It was losing power, and they're like, well, we'll spike the power real quick so we can get this thing up speed. They pulled the rods damn near completely out. This created a runaway situation. And when they put them back in, it was at a point where it's kind of like if you take vegetable oil and get it to a consistency of diesel oil, then all of a sudden it's like diesel oil. When you got that nuclear reaction to where it was at, and then you shove that graphite and the rods back in, you basically fed it nitrous times a billion. When it blew, they said it was bigger than any of the nuclear bombs. They want to say it was an actual reaction, explosion. It was probably like an implosion, almost like what a star does. So if it came from our galaxy, if it shot something in, not radiation, but just the ray, just the gamma ray out, it would have been powerful is all get out and went towards something. And that would have went past anything we've tried to send, including that stupid little satellite with a gold record on it that gives away all of everything about a vulnerability about a human. Plus, it's kind of stupid. It's going to look like a shot across the bow. Nobody's going to catch it and read the record. They're going to see it as a missile that missed their planet. So anything else we've sent out has not traveled further. Even back when the first recorded thing was the Olympics with Hitler talking on transmission, nothing has reached space faster than the Chernobyl event. And I bet if you turn it backwards, it was either pointed to or seen by the nebula, that Crab Nebula galaxy where we just got those rays from. This is an answer if you ask me. So that's just I'm going to go with, like I said, at this point, I probably lost everybody. And they probably don't believe anything I'm saying at this point. So I'm fine. I'll go further and I'll give you facts. Um, I'll put a link up to that guy's video. It's never been ever measured over 500 TeV. And yes, they're 6,500 light years away, but the burst that we sent out could have been, it could have went through or next to a sun. It could have changed, and it doesn't even matter. They could have seen it with whatever technology they had and sent back a message. And so in that nebula or past it, there could be a planet that's sending us an answer, because that much power and what we sent out, like I said, I believe that that's a response. You can say what you want. Let's go to what's going on now, though. Chinese hackers, basically the PLA, People's Liberation Army, the same army that was headed in communications by a man that started Huawei, which is why we don't trust Huawei, right? And we don't want their 5G systems, but Russia's accepting it. So Chinese hackers, they just let out today. Oh, and the ray burst just happened yesterday. So that was just reported. You're hearing it from me first. And I'll put the link to the guy who told it, and he does the study. He's got this array set up. You'll be amazed at what he does. So the Huawei situation we avoided. However, they've got Chinese hackers that it was just announced by the Wall Street Journal report, and also by Fox Business. I believe it was Fox Business, that Chinese hackers, I've got a link to it, I'll play it in a second. Chinese hackers infiltrated 10 cell carriers, and it was just let out today. That's recon for something big to come, if you ask me. I'm not going to believe it's anything different. I was just talking about that we're in a cyber war, and they've hacked. What the information they got was all of your cell phone numbers, all of your records, all of your texts, and they also got your GPS information. So all of the 10 carriers, all of them, worldwide. That's what China just did. Chinese hackers just did that. So to go further from there, actually I can play that. You know what? Why listen to me when we can listen to the people who reported it in the first place? And I'll try to get to that point. And it was at 3 minutes, and I'm going to play this a little backwards when I show you the link to this. I'm starting at 3 minutes and 41 seconds, and then I'll go back to 3:23. So at 3:41, and I will let you listen to these people talk about what China did. Then we'll go back.
That kind of operational impact.
Meanwhile, all of this, as a new threat from China comes our way, hackers believed to be backed by...
Hang on 1 second. I'm going to get the audio right and bring it to the front. Let's see. Bass could be -2. Treble could be -2. Right, rear, to the front. I'll go 15 on the front, or 14 or so. We will listen to that. I'll rewind this just a bit. Let's see, at 3:58, it was 3:41 that I've got to find. And I'm going to go backwards in time. I'm going to play this. I'll try to check out some comments here. Let me go ahead and grab those. Let's see here. Gamma Ray distracted drivers, yeah. Amen, brother, yeah. Horsefly's watching. What's up, Horsefly? Nobody swats Horsefly. He's good to fly around, do whatever he wants to do. Shannon Blair, wow. Let's see. By the way, I usually don't get to listen either because I sneak on live streams at work. I work at the hospital or systems. You're on the front lines with that hospital medicine. I don't know that I believe in Ebola being here, but I don't believe it's measles either. And so whatever the situation is, first thing it's going to do is people are going to go sick to the hospital, and then that's where you're going to get, you know what you're dealing with. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me go up. I'm sorry about the view. When I scroll up, it messes with that. Let's see. L1978. What happened? Just got here. Well, in a nutshell, 15 people have now, little by little over the last year and a half, I guess. 15 people have died in one place in Ohio going the wrong way on the road. And then we got a gamma ray, or I'd say photon, a high energy burst from another galaxy, and higher than ever recorded. We thought it could only go as high as 100 TeV. Somehow it made it here at 500 TeV. That's tera electrovolts. And So it must have left with a lot more power than that, because space slows down light. Because if you think about it, when light travels, it travels at the speed of light. However, when light goes through water, it slows down. When it goes through a solid, it'll slow down, possibly even stop, depending on the solid, if it's opaque enough. And like plexiglass, I'm saying solid. And it actually bends and goes in different angles underwater. You see light coming in, it comes in at a refracted angle. And lenses actually, like a magnifying glass, can make the photons come together and bombard each other. When the same way, it's the opposite effect going through space. So by the time it got here, if it's 500 tera electrovolts, that was huge when it was sent. I'm gonna say sent, because they've never measured it before. And then after Chernobyl, I'd actually want to turn the clock backwards on the Earth and see which direction Chernobyl was pointing when it actually blew. That's what I've been meaning to do, and now, before I could even do that, this is a response, if you ask me. So I'm gonna go down here a bit, and we'll talk about some stuff. Damn, coworker finally moseyed in. Toodles, y'all. Oh, okay. Or moseyed in. Sup, y'all? Lunchtime burrito listening. Hey, Bamboo Soldier, me and Kid were just talking about this. The best burrito on the planet is down in Texas. They're open 24/7. Now I got to give you that, because I didn't start talking about that real quick. We're giving the best burrito on the planet, and it's not exactly a truck stop. You pretty much have to stop on the side there and walk into the place, but it's open 24/7. And I know I'll find it right quick. Me and Kid were talking about it, and he had a guy on the radio tell him where to go, because I was joking with him about getting tacos. So let's see here. I wrote that down too. That was on I-20 at exit 486. If you're going west on I-20 at 486 in Texas, get off and go in. There's a Mexican restaurant 24/7, and he said he was right. He went in there and had it, man. I'm like, I'm all about it. I'm going to hit that place whenever I go down there. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, right. Bamboo's saying hello to everybody. Caught it, howdy. Okay, Anonymous, you know what, JD, you got to watch this from the front. I done got into some cool stuff, but fixing to play this here, and I'm gonna let you guys watch about how they hacked our entire systems too, the phone systems. China, they have the People's Liberation Army. They want to say it's hackers or whatever. They got people that do this round the clock. So they hacked it's cyber warfare. It's their part of helping out Iran, and then we'll see what Russia does next. Russia will do something probably different, like the scam they tried to pull on me the other day with the Walmart $1,000 gift card, asking for info and saying, if you hurry, you can get it, and this person just got it and whatever. And it's it's bullshit. So anyways, they're data mining, phishing, and hacking. So here we go. If I'll make sure my volume's up enough so you can hear it, may have to turn it down.
As a new threat from China comes our way, hackers...
This guy right here, by the way, he is a 4-star general, Jack Keane, who is retired from the U.S. And I'm going to tell you something. The best reports you'll ever hear on Fox or any other news station is when they start bringing generals on who know what the hell they're talking about, because they'll put it out there. So sorry about the brightness on this too. It's just going to have to be the way it is. And I'm gonna let him talk, but they're gonna tell about the China thing. Then we'll rewind and we'll talk about the sanctions situation.
Backed by the Chinese government.
Backed by the Chinese government.
The cell networks,
just like I said,
10 global telecom carriers, according to a report cited by the Wall Street Journal this morning. The report says that hackers stole users' locations along with call and text records.
Everything you ever did.
How should we be looking at this as the U.S. and China are going to be meeting? The president meets with President Xi on Friday at the G20 this week. This Friday, and then you've got this major attack from Chinese hackers on 10 global companies.
Hold on.
Yeah, I mean,
just so you know, she just said the word attack. I've been telling you it's cyber warfare. She finally said, and it's by China's government that is running the PLA, sorry.
Needed here, in concert with our allies, continuously expose China to the international community in what they are doing here with their offensive cyber operations. Because it's not just the United States is impacted, it's all of our allies, and we got to call them out. They are paranoid about adverse publicity. And the reason you can tell that is how quickly they react to it. The second thing is the Trump administration is moving in the right direction to use our very sophisticated, #1 in the world, best in class, offensive cyber capability ourselves. We have reportedly just used it on the Iranians. We have got to fire back at these organizations that are doing this to us. And this administration is loose enough
shut down the PLA
regulations and issued executive orders that permit Cyber Command, which owns the offensive capability, to respond in kind. So those are the two things I think we really truly need to do, and take a multilateral approach to the problem with China.
So you don't think that this is directed by the Chinese government to infiltrate the U.S.'s telecom systems?
I think it absolutely is directed by the U.S. government. I mean,
he says, I mean, the Chinese government. Now, let me tell you something. I said it weeks ago. I've been thinking it for a long time. Here's the thing. Russia has developed missile systems that go and fly higher than speed of sound and all this stuff, right? That can be armed with nuclear warheads and stuff. They've got one that the name of it is the Devil. There's another one, okay? They're looking for first strike. They want to be able to be faster than us to hit another country with a nuclear weapon before you can even respond. That's what they want. First strike. It's called first strike. China wants the damn football. China wants to cyber hack things so that we can't do anything. You understand? And both of them have taken measures to put satellites into space to take out not just our GPS. That's the first thing they'll do. But they've actually flown around, knowing which ones they were, flown around in high Earth orbit, because there's near Earth orbit, low Earth orbit, and in high orbit where our military satellites are. And they've flown around our military satellites, listened in, went to the next one, listened in, and then that had to be reported to, look, I did that video, I'll put a link up to that. But this is what they're actively working on doing. It's all recon, and it's going to see what they could do, and if they could shut us off with a push of a button. Russia's already got plans to actually, they have written up war plans that they would take over the United States by the bombs, and then by putting another chemical out, doing a chemical attack to kill all the people that have ran from those bombs, and then turn around and put out a chemical that would make our dirt so that they could grow crops again. It's a plan, okay, that's still in effect. And then they have that dead hand system. So going further with this here, we'll play this.
Chinese government. Yeah, absolutely. Everything that is done offensive cyber in China is largely done by the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. They have tens of thousands of people that are every single day doing offensive cyber hacking around the world.
Unbelievable. So, I mean, it's not a subject that the president would bring up with President Xi, though, in the middle of trade talks.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
I think the more pressure on President Xi, the better. That's right. In my view. Absolutely bring it up.
Okay. Well, this is going to be some meeting this week. General, it's good to see you. Thanks so much.
Now, I'm going to go back on this. That was because I wanted to do that first. We were cyber hacked. All phones, period. I'm with T-Mobile, I'm with AT&T, I'm with Verizon. Nope, all of them. They got everything you got. And they've got unlimited amount of storage for it. You would think, well, why would they care about me? Well, they're going to find out who's who and who's what. They're wanting to find out who's military. They're wanting to find out what they can cut off. They're wanting to find out who's got access to what. That's what they're doing. And they'll use AI to search for keywords in everything you've said, all your data, and they will search those keywords to see which ones are more important to even search further with AI. And AI is like, 10,000, 100,000 times faster than people at scrolling through stuff. And that's why they've been able to, when Facebook gets hacked and they give that away, they've got all your Facebook stuff already. They've already talked about that. Zuckerberg had to go in front of Congress for that. He's like, oh, well, we're running a company and we care about the people. And yeah, well, you let everything go. So now they have everything. Great, right? So I got a couple comments here. I'll get to it and I'm going to play something else. Okay, if I go to Texas, I would look out things. Yep. Let's see. This don't make sense. Why would China do that to us when Donald Trump went over there and had a meeting with their head leader? Oh, because that's what they do, man. They lie to you to your face, and then they do something completely different. Listen, here's the thing. China's still mad about Hong Kong. China's still mad about a long time ago. They couldn't get over the mountain. The mountains protected them, the wall protected them, all this stuff. But then at the same time, Europe was doing its thing where they wanted a bunch of different places, colonies, this and that. And so, let's see here. Okay, so what happened was now finally, China gets back Hong Kong, but before that, let's go on the backstory. They basically used opium and got all the leaders and all the people in China hooked on opium, and that's how they took over, and that's how they wound up getting control of Hong Kong. Let's see here. I got another payment comment. Shit. Yeah, that's about the size of it. So then Hong Kong was then agreed to by a certain year to be handed back to China. But now the people in Hong Kong act like they're American. And they're like, well, we should have rights and all this stuff, right? And then Taiwan is like a disputed thing, but Hong Kong was given back to them, I guess, or whatever. And so they now are saying that anybody who does anything wrong in Hong Kong, they passed a law in China saying, or said that they are explaining the law or whatever they did, that anybody from Hong Kong that China wants to, they can extradite them back to China, mainland China, where they could be put in those prison camps. And there's pictures of people that have their hands behind them and they're bent over and they're, man, just getting sick and everything else and being beat and tortured at days on end, and they're tied to a wall. That this one woman talked about her journey, and they still cry today even though they're free. That is the same as that in North Korea. It's the same as what North Korea is doing. China, well, sometimes if it's a legal thing, one guy, they did a report on where this guy, he did something and killed a kid, and then they were going to execute him. Now that makes sense. It just is what it is, right? And they took his kids, and it was a whole report of how they take their kids and they put them in foster care if anything like that happens. But there's people who are political people who get taken away and their kids, and there's some of them that they don't kill. They just keep them living for a very long time and they torture them. And then if you look at the one guy that got off the plane from North Korea, what they did to him, that American who happened to be on the wrong floor of the hotel. Yeah, oh yeah, hit the like button. If anything, hit the like button just for the fact that I had to spend $2 on this paper. I'm just saying, to help y'all out, you know what I'm saying? So there's the wrong way deaths. Like I said, I will get this a little bit more light. Wow, too much light, right? Here we go. That'll wake you up, right? So this is I-75, I-70, and 675 everywhere around Dayton, Ohio. Truckers need to be careful is what I'm saying, because they're driving the wrong way. And even if you're driving the right way, they'll head into you. And if you don't die in the fiery crash, you'll be held up and broke down and everything else. So maybe be careful and even avoid Dayton, Ohio, if you can help it. Look at what they do, and they drive in the wrong way. This is the 15th they're seeing in 4 years, but there was so many that was recent. So that's what's going on. There's an issue, you know what I mean? So that's what the 15 deaths were about. They actually said in the report when I was reading, it said about 2 years there was so many. So there's a breakdown of it. 2019, 2017, 2017. So many of them, 2017, 2017. So many of them were done recently within the past 2 years. That's what they were saying. Okay, toss that out. So here's what we got now. I'm gonna play the first of this where he talks about what happened with Iran, and I'll tell you what happened. The supreme leader, okay, well, I mean supreme, man. He's got pepperoni, olives, tomatoes, onion, black olives, peppers, green peppers, and Canadian. I don't think he gets Canadian bacon. They're under sanctions. Anyways, he's a supreme leader, okay, full on supreme. Extra cheese. Dude's in charge, supposedly, right? So if he's in charge, he should be in charge of that army that was shooting our drones, and he should be culpable for things. And also, because of what he's doing, Trump said, hey, look, fine, you're the supreme leader, you and all your friends and everybody in your leadership position, guess what? We're going to sanction you. Now, you would think, oh, they're going to mess with his bank account. Oh, well, let me tell you something. And oh, he might have money in that country. Well, let me let you know. Just him alone, he has companies that are global that bring him in $100 billion, and he's used to getting $100 billion. He likes that, right? So he just lost $100 billion that he's been using to support terrorist groups in different countries. One country, Syria, okay, but then even go back to 81 through 89, because you're talking the 2 embassies. They killed 600 Americans in Iraq in 2015. You know, we lost a couple of bases and stuff. And so Iran's supreme leader is supremely, he's got his hands dirty of a lot of things over a lot of years. He's been in charge for a long time. And so, not so good a guy. And we're trying to work with him. Even Trump's saying, hey, things could be good. But in the meantime, they cut off his money supply, his $100 billion, and all the people in his cabinet, all his friends and buddies, and anybody that's connected to his government. Bam, just like that. Just shut that shit down. You no longer get money from these companies. When you say sanction, that means they'll take your bank accounts, they'll take everything. Man, you can't trade and you're out of business. Your companies are out of business. It's just like bam, just like that. So all of the companies he owned and stuff, he gets no money from it and all that. And he's not happy. And so now he says, the Iran supreme leader says, there's no way that talks will work now. Yeah, he's pissed because he took his money. And so now we're past the point of talking. And he's saying, get ready for war now. He already gave us a timeline. He already said in 60 days, if you don't lift the other sanctions, that we're going to war with you, talking about the U.S. So he's already declared war in 60 days. That countdown's ticking. We're about a week and a half in. Okay? All right. So this is the other part of that is at, let's see, 3 minutes and 23 seconds. The rest of this, I'll put the link up to the video. Like I said, I played the other part first, and then you can watch it. You can watch the whole thing in the way that they gave it to you. 3:23 is what I'm looking for. So, and this is, I guess, supposed to be their army and whatever, in a helicopter, and showing that they have might and power and fireworks. Because right now they can't shoot their missile systems off because Su-300s having issues. I wonder why.
That will tie him up, who are on the international market, and he uses that $100 billion plus.
A little bit before.
It's quite another. And that's what's happening here, and that's why the economy is being crippled. The specific sanctions dealing with the supreme leader will largely, I don't believe, have major impact on the Iranian economy, but he does own a number of companies out there that will tie him up, who are on the international market. And he uses that $100 billion plus as a slush fund to fund the IRGC and the Quds Force activities in Syria, Yemen, etc. So it'll have that kind of operational impact.
Meanwhile, all of this, as a new threat from China comes our way, hackers believed to be backed by the Chinese government infiltrating the cell networks of at least 10 global telecom carriers, according to a report cited by the Wall Street Journal this morning. The report says that hackers stole users' locations along with call and text records. What should we look at? How should we be looking at this as the U.S. and China are going to be meeting? The president meets with President Xi on Friday at the G20 this week. This Friday.
Yeah, that's the G20 this Friday. Yeah, we should be looking at them sideways. But guess what else is coming up? That's the G20. All right. I'm going to give you a heads up on how things really work, people. Of who's really pulling the strings and who's really in control of this world, this planet that you're on right now, going through space at how many millions of miles an hour. Let me tell you something. Okay, a long time ago, before we get into the G summit, and it goes by leaders. They're saying, G20 is 20 countries, G7 is, 7 countries or 6 or whatever. And then there's also NATO, which is however many countries they'll allow in if they don't have civil rights, violations, even though a lot of them do, but we've tried to work with them. So here's the thing. This is who really runs things. If you look at who has all of the money on the planet, okay? Basically, it was once said that they didn't care who sat on the throne in England, that they would control the world, and they funded both sides of every war, and it was a family, and the sons one went to to England and took over the situation finance in London and everything else. And I'm gonna turn this little switch on to get a little air conditioning going. And so basically, those people who have the money are really what's running things. And there's a meeting when some people meet together. So forget about the G20, G this, G that. In the same way that those people who have that money were standing, and the Queen of England walked up, and there's video of them snubbing her like it wasn't nothing and just walking away when she wanted to go over and talk to them. And that's the Queen of England. They're the people with all the money. It's been said, they don't care who sits on the throne, they run the world as long as they have the money. Guess the other meeting that's coming up, what that one is, where all of the people with money in the world, Bohemian Grove. Now, not to send you too far left or crazy, but Alex Jones did a video, and he was the first one to infiltrate Bohemian Grove. He went in there with a video. They do some kind of a mock sacrifice to an owl, and they worship an owl and crazy stuff. But the thing is that where rich people congregate is where they talk and where they do a lot of things. That was a gamma burst right there. I don't know what that was. So that was a reflection off the trailer. So that happens. And so all of the wars of the world and everything that's going on, or any kind of issues that can be resolved or can't be resolved, and all the where the money's going to go for the next however long or year, it's fixing to happen in a couple of weeks. Forget about the G summits. It's going to happen where people that snub other people get together and actually talk. So I'm going to go into another video that I've got here, if I can find it. If not, I'll play some tunes and drop these links. Anybody wants to say anything, go ahead and talk. Let's see here. That was Iran sanctions. And I'm just going to, real quick, and I will put up a link to the guy who talked about that nebula. But I'm going to play this. Let's see. 3, 2. That's the wrong one. Here we go. Play little tunes here. Oh, I got to put this on the back, don't I? -2. Anybody want to say anything? You're welcome to say anything you want. I'm going to search Twitter real quick, and if I don't find anything else that's breaking off Iran, I'll get off this. Like I said, it's going to be going on for a while and every day. Let's see. All I can say is this crazy with the China's wanting to do all this. Yeah, China is holding hands with Russia. Russia's holding hands with Iran, and it's all uphill for them, but they're doing what they can covertly without blaming anybody or admitting to anything. They're the ones doing it. But you seen that was a, 4-star general. So, Jack Keane, tell them what's going on. Let's see if I can find, real quick, the link I was looking for. I've got this one tethered too. So now they've, and that's not the only thing. That's just what they've recently admitted to. They've hacked we had problems with the phones and comms yesterday, Let's see, even more crazy about half our electronics over here comes from China. Yeah, and all of their cameras are made real cheap because they can report back to the internet and tell them, give them GPS and give them video and this kind of stuff. And the more expensive ones send back video. The cheaper ones have like pictures and GPS. So that's why I said Australia's already infiltrated, because they use all those cheap cameras. Anything that's on a Wi-Fi network or near a Wi-Fi network, it'll get back. So they can set up a network on on a camera system where it's not connected to Wi-Fi, but then when they go over there with their little handheld device that gives it Wi-Fi, and it will send everything back to Beijing. Believe it? Yeah, let's see what we got next though. I wanted to check something out real quick. And I didn't wake up with razor wire in front of my truck and a couple of Humvees guys telling me I'm being detained. So evidently the Washington Post article and them letting out with their 2 guys that let out the information about the strike, and everybody else had it on Facebook. Evidently they're not mad at me for sharing Washington Post there. Let's see what we got here. I think I can pull this up. I'll see what's trending on Twitter from the people that aren't on there and don't go there, because that's where they talk about recent stuff that strikes just like that. And there's people over in Iran that will tell what's going on. Will this work? Oh, it's just slow and go, that's all. You know what? Oh, and this one's got a bad low battery here. I'm trying to bring it to you people. I spent $2 on that paper. Hit the like button. I know I got about 5 now. Let's see what we got here. Okay, Twitter. And I like I said, I want to check this out. But yeah, they kind of made me mad the way they reported on that truck accident with the bikers, the MC bikers, because I felt like, honestly, I was like that, at least Michael Savage, the way he reported it, he put on there that it was a trucker or whatever, or the truck driver. He's not a truck driver. Don't try to make it sound like a truck. And he put, did he try to hit him on purpose? That's what he was saying. So then it makes it sound like even worse. Let's see here. Yes, exactly. Shannon, they sort of have us right where they want us, vulnerable. And let's see, I already hit the like button. I got you, man. I appreciate it. Let's see what we got here. Still looking here. Looking. Now I'm gonna search. I'm just gonna give it keyword Iran. Let me know if that's too much bass, because I'm hearing it, but I mean, it's turned down. I can let it down if it's too loud. Let's see what we got here. Will it let me search? Search. Okay. Iran. In the last hour, there's been 5,410 tweets, but they're going to show the top ones. Let's see what we got. Well, let's see. Oh my God. Well, we'll let the president talk. This is great. He put, and I'll show you this too while I'm reading it. This is pretty good. So I gotta go with this here. And it says I can show the thread, but I'll see if it'll pick it up. That was from Donald J. Trump right there. Iran's very ignorant and insulting statement put out today only shows that they do not understand reality. Any attack by Iran on anything American will be met with great and overwhelming force. That sounds like a tanker to me. They need to send a bunch of flags on there. Let's see, in some areas, overwhelming will mean obliteration. No more John Kerry and Obama. Well, now, that's a shot across a bunch of bows. So, yeah, hey, that's just the top tweet. I'm not trying to pick something that he said and say this about it, but yeah. Let's see here. Oh, yes, and they've been stockpiling uranium, which can only be used for making a nuclear bomb. I mean, there's no reason for them to have it. But they're going to need plutonium too, and they're going to need to start the reactor up, and they need to stop that before it happens. And the centrifuges and wherever else they might be getting. It's a certain kind of I think it's an aluminum tube that's been machined to a certain it's like very, very tight tolerance, even more so than something that'd be like for a rifle barrel or something. Let's see what we got here. The Green Party of Iran is a political party founded to defend Iran's environment. Well, their environment's going to get pretty rough if they don't. I'm just saying, this is just stuff I'm scrolling down through. Let's see. Yeah, well, we should have never given $1.8 billion to Iran for anything. So we're going to get there, though. We're going to get it all worked out. He's trying to do it peaceful. He's even saying he has faith for a good, future for Iran, and he's wanting to work it out. But the way Iran said today that there will be no talks, no whatever after this round of, well, not round of sanctions, they just mess with his money sanctions. But hey, man, look, if I had $100 billion coming in, I'd be pretty unhappy if it quit coming in too. I'd be like, well, that ain't right. That's like, some countries don't have that as a GDP. Let's see. Related searches. I'm looking. Well, Reuters top news says Iran is not looking for war with America. Iran president, whatever. He said there's no talks going to happen. Well, maybe they'll just shut up and they won't have no more missile systems, and maybe they'll know that if they shoot at anything. Wait, what is this now? Reporter from CNN says, do you have an exit strategy for Iran if war does break out? President Trump says, you're not going to need an exit strategy. I don't need exit strategies. He's like, yeah, it's going to be flat. We're going to land there. We're going to land there and pave it. That's what no, it's just sad, man. That's a whole country full of people. He saved 100 people. Listen, even after that Iranian leader was responsible for all kinds of deaths, he saved 150 people's lives that were manning those missiles by not airstriking them, by using computer hacking to shut down those systems. He did them a favor. He saved lives with what he did. Because he asked him, he says, how many is going to die? And he said, I don't know, we'll get back to you. And we'll be right back, with you. And then they asked, and he said, about 150 people are manning them. And he said, no, we're going to do something proportionate because it was an unmanned drone. So that's tactful, and that's a measured response. But now with China messing with our cell phones, I mean, what's the measured response for people jacking with your comms, messing with your communications? I don't know. But I'll tell you what's going on for real is Israel is chomping at the bit. Israel is testing every day, and they have been training for a long time to go and run over there and bomb that reactor. They bombed the one in Iraq. They bombed the one in Syria. They are good at it, and they don't care how far it is. They'll put extra tanks on their airplanes and ride it on fumes. Those guys are double tough, man. You don't mess. Let me tell you something too that they don't really put out much, but I will say it. We provided Israel with their airplanes. Okay. I want to say it was the F-15 or F-16. I'd have to look. Israel took that airplane and gutted it. Just gutted the electronics on it. Started from scratch and built a better system and made the plane better than when we sent it to them in the first place. Israel's got some bad little fighters. Okay, you might think, oh, F-16. No, let me tell you something. It's just like the upgrade for putting new engines in a Warthog or putting them in the new engines in our older bombers and upgrade them. They went there with the electronics, and they went there. And these countries are not stupid. You can't be ethnocentric and think that the United States has the most intelligent people in it. No. There's hackers everywhere. And China's recruiting them and giving them a job and pizza and Coca-Cola and whatever they need, I guess, to sit there at the computer and hack all day. And run programs that are built for that. These are not stupid people. Do not underestimate our enemies. That's what they are if they're against us. And they're attacking us cyber warfare style. Don't ever underestimate them. These guys are geniuses. They really are. And like I said, now, Israel is not an enemy. Israel is an ally. So I'm telling you this, though. They're so good at hitting those reactors that everybody that said death to Israel and all this, and then they're working on nuclear ambitions. Reagan said when they asked him, or told him that, hey, Israel just, took out this reactor. Reagan said, they did what? Yeah. Like, they didn't think they could even reach them. And they went there with planes. Put extra tanks on there, jettisoned the tanks, came back on fumes. and there was all these missile defense systems all lined up and shooting at them, and they had flak and everything else. Nothing took them out. They flew there, they flew back. Done. One guy was a grandson of a survivor of Auschwitz, or one of the Nazi death camps, and he said, I'm doing this for my country, for Israel. I've got to go, and if anything, for the memory of his grandfather, so it don't happen again. That they feel, let me tell you something, they have a Samson clause too that you don't know about in Israel, that says if they're ever attacked by any kind of missile, anything, and they're really pushing it, shooting rockets over into Israel, but you know, them little smaller ones from the Palestinians. But I'm saying this, they have a law that says if they're attacked by any country, that especially after the war with Egypt, and they took on quite a few countries there, they have a law that says that it's the Samson clause. Samson took out more of his enemies in one day than he did in his whole lifetime, because he was blind. They thought him to be weak or whatever, and he prayed that he'd get enough energy, you know, one last time to defeat his enemies. It was at a time when all these people were on top of the building, and the building was held up by pillars, and he grabbed two of the pillars. He had a boy take him in there. He says, lead me to where the pillars are. He went to the center, and he said, now get out of here, and you'll tell this story, and you'll live. All of his enemies, I want to say the Philistines, were in the building and on top of the building for some kind of a religious get-together, kind of a pilgrimage that they did at the time. And he took those pillars and he pulled them and collapsed the building, and everybody died, including him. It killed himself. Israel has a clause that's named after him called the Samson Clause. The Samson Clause that says that if they're attacked by any missiles, any outside country attacks them, that they have to use nuclear weapons. They have to. It's in the law. There is no question about them pushing that button. They're trying to make it so other countries don't have the ability to even have nukes in the first place, that are saying death to Israel, so that they don't get to that point, because it will happen. Any strike against them at all, bam, nuclear. So that is it. That's the end of that. I'll put some links up, people. I'm gonna get off this thing. Just know that I don't think that it's going to be very long. I think Israel's going to take out their reactor once he starts really ramping up work on it. He's not going to have much money to do it, because now all of his warriors that's out there in the field just lost their supply line, because that's what he was funding it with. I don't think he can take money from the coffers of his country and put those little pet projects he's been playing with the $100 billion that he had. He thought he was still good to play. They might come to the table. They might build up their country and get away from their nuclear ambitions and whatever. But if not, there's soldiers that are out there that are proxy fighters trying to cause mess in Syria and everything else. And I think Israel's already hit some of them. Those soldiers are not going to have a supply line anymore. They're going to run out of ammo. They're going to be cut off. So that might be the end all of his proxy people too. You got thoughts? Go ahead and tell them. I'm going to get off this thing in just a second. Just thought I'd put that up there. I'm going to start this thing up, get some air going. People, I appreciate you coming in to check this out, and stay away from Dayton, Ohio. Like I said, it's a mess. People driving the wrong way. What can you do about that except not be there? And I'm going to get rolling. Let's see, you're welcome. Yeah, Shannon, you're a trooper. Appreciate you coming in. And yeah, this is some good chicken noodle soup. Flying J soup. There's no flies in the fly. Waiter, there's a fly in my soup. That old joke. So I want to say thanks for what you do. Yeah, I'm just a relay tower. I find it and I bring it to you. It's mainly so that truck drivers know what's going on, but if your cell phone goes out and everybody's cell phone goes out, what would cause that, huh? That's why Fox News is letting you know ahead of time. That was just recon for what they're gonna do. Okay? They were just taking over the systems for what they can do. Keep it up. I appreciate it, man. And I will put a link up to that guy that checks out the space. And matter of fact, I'll do that in the next couple seconds here when I drop this video. Be safe out there. Yep. I'm gonna get off this thing. You can watch it on the rewind. Ain't kicking nobody out. I don't kick nobody out here. You can sleep on the floorboard. You can stay right there on the floorboard. We'll throw a blanket on you. You're good. You can stay. You won't have to catch it on the rewind, though, because I got to go. I'm out, y'all. Peace.